How's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Today I want to talk about heists, but specifically single player versus online heists. I've always believed that single player heists were much better than the online heists, and it doesn't have to do with the fact that they're single player. The heists could work a lot better in online. It's not an online problem, but how heists are implemented. I'm not saying heists in online are terrible either, but they're just not as good as the single player ones. Let me explain. I know a lot of people are going to tell me heists are terrible because of randoms, and trust me, I agree that randoms can ruin a really good heist, but even if you have good teammates, the heists, in my opinion, they're nowhere near as good as the single player. What is the biggest flaw in the heists in online? The lack of variety. In single player, we felt more like we were planning a heist. We had to get all the materials in single player and then deliver them, and in certain heists, we parked a getaway car, we chose in a specific location, Doomsday Heist. It did this a little better than the original heist, as we had prep missions in free mode, which were random oftentimes, and it made the heist much more fun. However, though, it still forced us into setup missions. The setup missions, yes, you get paid for them as an associate, but it's just frustrating having to invite players in, waiting for 3 people to join in, and driving across the map to do the same mission every time. If someone dies, you have to restart the whole mission. If someone leaves, you get kicked back into free mode and then have to load back in. It's a nightmare having to invite everyone again. It would have been more effective if we were allowed to do these missions directly in free mode, like prep missions. For example, why do we need a team of 4 to steal 1 plane in the prison break heist? Let us do that in free mode. Doomsday Heist did improve this in that you only needed 2 people for the setup missions, but still had them. In single player heists, we would go look around for the heist equipment in the meantime while we were doing other activities, and even though we played as different characters, it was a team effort. Wouldn't it be cool if one person could steal a plane in the prison break heist, in the meantime another person could steal a prison bus? It would make heists more simple and more enjoyable. The other biggest factor is that it's the same mission every time. One of the main reasons I don't do heists anymore and I just focus on businesses is because it's the same thing every time you play it. You know exactly what's going to happen, you know how the mission is going to play out. In single player, we had different approaches on the majority of the heists, and we had different roles that were unique. I mean, take a look at this heist, which was the Merryweather one. On this heist, it involved only Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. You had 2 approaches to choose from: the freight container, which would take you to the LS docks for the finale, or the offshore, which would take you all the way to Paleto Bay. This was still the same heist, but had 2 completely different approaches, and they were completely different finales. That's what made heists so unique. You planned them out, and the prep missions were simple. The missions before the big score, robbing the Union Depository, were more simple and less complicated than the majority of the setup missions in this game. How is robbing gangs in Series A more complicated than the prep missions for the Union Depository? It seems Rockstar believes you can just throw a heist label on something and people will love it. Some setup missions on certain heists are more harder than the heist finale themselves. That doesn't really make much sense. People didn't like the heists because they were labeled heists. They liked them because of the mission structure. Sure, they liked the money in them, the rewards that you would get, but the majority of people I have talked to liked the heists because of the mission itself. They thought it was fun. They thought commissioning the robbery was fun. They thought playing that was enjoyable. In my opinion, GTA 5 did not have a strong story like GTA 4, but what it did have was the best heist in the series. The reason GTA 5's heists were so popular is because of their uniqueness, the planning involved in them, and choosing the approach. Why are there no approach choices in all the heists in GTA Online? There are 8 heists in total, and they all have the same finale ending. In 2015, I played a lot of heists because there wasn't really any businesses at that time. You had contact missions and heists. That was your main source of money, so I did a lot of heists. And when you do the same setup missions, the same finales, fighting the same waves of enemies over and over again, it gets boring. Look at the Merryweather Heist. Here is one example of why single player had better heists. You had Franklin on the bridge covering Michael, who was on the ship with a suppressor, killing Merryweather, and planting charges. Then when all the charges are planted, the ship goes up, Michael dives to find the wreckage, and then Trevor moves in with the submarine and picks it up. All 3 characters had different roles, yet were working together. Heist is meant to be a team activity, but not only do they lack variation in their missions, but they lack different roles. Too many of the roles are the same on various heists, and they have very little difference between them. The best heist of roles is the prison break, because each member of the heist is doing something different, how heists should be. One player is a pilot circling the prison, the other is a prison officer driving the bus, another one is disguised as a prisoner, and the prisoner only can carry a pistol when they start, which makes sense as they can't really carry a weapon inside. The last role is a demolition, which gets rid of the evidence and covers the plane on takeoff. Everyone played a different role, yet worked together. As long as you have a good team, this is how heists should be, and they should also have different variations in approaches. Too many of the heists have no difference in roles. Look at Series A, for instance. Everyone is the same role, just on different sides of the warehouse, and they drive 2 trucks to 1 drop-off. In Humane Labs, you have a little more variation with 2 people on the ground and 2 in the chopper. But if you look at the heist itself, it's the exact same thing as the single-player mission, just going backwards in the tunnel. The Pacific Standard, it looks like everyone is doing something different, but there isn't much variation. One person just hits a button, puts a few charges on a few doors, blows them open, that's it for that person. Another person does 1 hack minigame, opens up the vault, while the other 2, they watch the hostages upstairs. Then everyone just shoots their way out. Fleece Job, being the first heist, has more of a variation. At least one player is drilling, and depending on how good they are, they can open it faster than other people. You know, some people, they really know how to drill well on that mission, and I wish they would apply that concept to more heists. Certain roles, they should be skill-based. They should be a little more challenging. You know, some people should know how to do certain roles better than others. That's why you would want to assign those people. Like somebody who knows how to fly planes better, you would assign them to pilot. But if you assign like roles and they're pretty much the same thing, they're very similar to one another, what's really the difference? There's not really a difference in playing each role. If we look at the Doomsday Heist, in Act 1, everyone is the same role. Act 2, you have 2 people in the sub and 2 people in the helicopter, and you could even do this whole heist with 2 people. You could have 1 person on each side. And Act 3, everyone is the same role. On each of these heists, you don't feel like you're in control, but you feel like Lester, Agent 14, or Trevor is telling you what to do. Let's take a look at my favorite heist in GTA 5, the Big Score. A lot of work was put into this heist. It has 2 completely different approaches. In one approach, we dress up as armored car drivers, we pop the tires of the armored cars. In the tunnel, we take the team hostage and then take the 2 vans. We use those vans to infiltrate the Union Depository, and we use fake IDs. This lets us get the gold directly, and we sneak out without a wanted level. Then the hacker comes into play, where they help control the traffic lights. Merryweather is looking for the team, and Franklin has to keep them away from Merryweather, changing the lights. Then everyone has to load the gold into the cars, and Merryweather arrives, leading to a big fight. Then at the end, everyone drives the getaway cars through a huge chase all the way to the tunnel, where they drive them up the ramps, tricking the cops into thinking they are still into the tunnel. This was an amazing heist, and I was so impressed by this level the first time I played it.
I don't see the vehicles. Okay, seal the tunnel and get a ground team in there stat.
The other attempt is the obvious approach, but even that is really fun. Even though the plan seems stupid, it works, because the plan is for Michael and another heist member, here I was using Chef, to go into the bank's main entrance and cause a scene, distracting all the cops. In the meantime, underground, Franklin and Packy here drill into the vault. The SWAT do catch on, but Franklin does not have to deal with nowhere near as many cops as Michael does above ground. When they get the gold ready, Trevor picks it up with a helicopter and takes it away. Then Franklin gets up topside, meets up with Michael and Chef, and they shoot their way to the getaway car. They get away, they lose their wanted level. In the meantime, Trevor is getting the gold to Sandy Shores, where Merryweather goes after them. It leads to a crazy helicopter chase through the wind turbines, where Lester fires an RPG at the pursuing helicopters, while we keep it steady for him. Encourage teamwork on these heists. I could see this concept being used in online, where one player has to hold a helicopter steady, while another player fires something from it, etc. You know, these missions, they should involve teamwork, they should involve coordination. I don't know if they will ever add new heists, but a casino heist is most likely, as that location will have a lot of money, and it hasn't been done in a mission yet. If they do it, learn from the mistakes of the original heist. Get rid of the setup missions. Have everything done in free mode. All the preps needed instead in free mode. Add multiple approaches. You know, I can think of a few situations. Add one where one player dresses up as a card dealer, infiltrates the casino. They have to find the manager, who is different each time. They're in a different location. You don't know where they are every time. It adds variety to the heist. Then they follow them into a back room. They knock them out or they kill them. They take their key card. Another player who is a hacker is looking at the security cameras. They have to guide that player through the back room so that they don't get spotted by guards and other cameras. And for people that don't have mics, they can hit directional buttons to tell them to go straight, left, right, you know, similar to the races that they have. Then in the meantime, another player could be getting a getaway car ready. There's just so many different possibilities for a heist. There could be a completely different approach where half of the team enters through the roof, while the other half causes a distraction in the middle of the casino. Make different approaches, add different unique roles, encourage teamwork. That's what heists are about. They're a team effort. Finally, make better pay. The main reason I do businesses instead of heists is because I can do my businesses in free mode. I can collect cargo and run them without having to go into a separate lobby. And business missions, They're random each time, unlike Heist, which is the same thing every time. This is why when people ask me, do you want Heist added to Red Dead Online? I say yes, but not like GTA Online. That's not what the game needs. It needs unique heists, like bank robberies that are different on how you approach them, not the same thing every time. And lastly, please increase payouts because the original heists just aren't worth doing if you compare them to Doomsday, which pays much better. Maybe add something like pro jobs that were in Payday 2 in the past. Add a separate mode where you do the same heist, but you have only one chance to do it. If you fail, it ends the heist. But if you succeed, you get twice the money for normally doing it. That would encourage teamwork and people to play heist more often. You know, Payday 2, they do a few other things. Like the missions, even though it's the same heist each time, the missions change. Like the location of certain things in that mission changes. The structure of the mission changes. You know, GTA, they could apply similar concepts, and this would encourage a lot more people to play heist. But if it's the same thing every time, and, you know, I gotta load up into a lobby just to do setup missions when that could easily be done in free mode of prep missions, I'm not really going to feel like playing. Heist should be more simple with the prep missions, but finale should be more complicated and harder and require more teamwork. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you did, let me know down below what you think, and I strongly suggest if you never played the single player heist, play them. Compare them to online, then tell me what you think, and tell me down below, do you also think the single player heists are better than the online heists? I do. I think you will enjoy them more. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.